아, 잠깐. 제시카, 외동딸, 일리노이, 시카고. 거선배는 김치모, 그는 이사촌. 뭐야, 소독해?
Yeah, this girl pretty much has my style for sure. But it's crazy. I'm surprised that Squid Games is getting this much traction, but it is fair. I know we're all in a pandemic and everything, and given that we're just watching TV and we're just in front of a TV probably most of the time, of course, whatever streaming and is the most popular or the newest hit thing is going to be what we're watching, even though something similar to what we're watching, even though it's not like completely similar, obviously, did come out before. Like things have came out, foreign films have came out before. This is nothing new. Like Squid Games is it is a new concept, and given that it deals with games, children's games, and it's got an interesting societal concept, I guess, of course, it can of course it would have blown up, and it could be viewed by a lot of, a wide range of audiences that would interpret it different ways and just, enjoy it for what it is, or I guess criticize it. So of course it got a lot of traction. But, a couple years ago, Parasite came out, and it's just funny that now all of a sudden, like, this movie, I guess, because the guy, the director of Squid Games, or the guy that wrote it, it did take him like 10 years to get the movie made. I guess that does call for, like, some type of applause and commemoration, because, like, just his work ethic of actually getting this series made. I mean, hell yeah, man, it took him fucking 10 years. That's awesome. I'm glad he was able to make it. But at the same time, Bong Joon-Ho made Parasite, and it was great. I mean, Parasite was just as good. It dealt with societal issues and stuff, and it was just as awesome. And it's like, it won all these awards, and then it just kind of like got swept under the rug because, we want to watch American films. We're more concerned about American films. We're too busy making our American films about politics and gender identity and stuff that it's just shit now. So of course we're being drawn to foreign films, and Parasite was one of those leading foreign films that made people start wondering, like, hey, I wonder what's playing overseas. And it took Shang-Chi to kind of get that community more recognition, unfortunately, in the American eyes, and it was in a good light, unfortunately. And now, Squid Games is, of course, like, blown up, and everyone's all into it. And I don't give it any, I'm not downplaying the show at all. I'm just saying, welcome to the club, just saying. That's all I'm saying. It's welcome to the club if you're late. But Parasite was fantastic. Bong Joon-Ho, he wrote Snowpiercer. If you've seen that with Chris Evans, and you're into the whole Willy Wonka crazy origin story or prequel that they said this was. And then he made one of my other favorite movies, one of my favorite Korean films, I believe it is, but one of my favorite foreign films that I had saw back in the day, The Host. And one of the main actors, Song Kang-ho, he's one of the actors in The Host too. He's one of the main characters. So it was really, cool to see him in this movie. When Parasite was first announced, I thought it was the animated Parasite. I totally thought it was going to be like a live action Parasite. And then I found out that there was a live action Parasite. So I was like, oh shit, like, I guess I don't even need to watch this, because I could just watch the live action Parasite, because that's what I really wanted to watch. But then when I found out that, Bong Joon-Ho was making the film, and I learned about it, I was like, oh shit, like, actually, I'm going to watch this, because this actually sounds fantastic. It is completely different from, the anime Parasite, the maximum, but it was still, it's still a fantastic concept and an awesome movie, and, in its own right, fantastic, as the anime of Parasite, also is fantastic. But anyway, besides that. So Parasite revolves around the Kim family, and the Kim family is pretty much, you know, the dad, mom, son, and brother, and they all pretty much live a pretty shit life, you know, in a sense. I mean, they're pretty much living on the street. I mean, not living on the street. They're living in like a basement apartment, because that's how it is in Korea, or wherever they're living in China, and it's like I forget where the movie takes place, but it's just like crazy living situations, and it's like, you know, people in America, they take for granted cheap rent, but I mean, it does suck that everything is fucking expensive, and over there it's like you can live for cheap, but it ain't gonna be the best circumstances at all. Like, you're literally living underground, or you're living in like a one barely, you know, a couple foot sized like walk-in closet type thing. It's crazy they're living out there, but they're living here, and the son is like kind of, you know, he's pretty smart, and he gets this like stone, this like wishing stone or something from a friend, or I forget how he gets the stone, but he gets the stone, and he's like, oh, like good fortune's gonna come to you and like your family. So his friend is like going away, and he's going on this like trip or whatever, and he's like, hey, I need your help. You gotta, if you want like some extra money, you know, I know you're tight on money, and he's always looking for jobs and stuff. They're always like looking for jobs. She's like, I need you to help me tutor this girl for this rich family. You'll get paid well, blah blah blah. So the kid pretty much, it's like, you know, he's like, all right, like, you know, I need the money, I'll do it. Goes, gets the job. The family's like pretty, you know, ridiculous. Like, they're very like high end. The mother and the father like barely talk, I guess. Like, they're just like your traditional like rich family who don't really give a shit about each other. Like, you know, they're like, you know, borderline, probably could get divorced any minute. They have a son and a daughter. The daughter's like kind of a little like, you know, I don't know, a little thotty or whatever. Like, she's like flirting with them and shit. And then the son's like hyperactive and whatnot. And so pretty much, you know, the Kim family, the daughter, she's like super smart too, right? But they all like, you know, they're not really good grades in school or whatever. The parents don't have the best jobs either. So it's just like the family's like, just, you know, they're like a poor family pretty much. So the family that they go take care of, they're called the Park family. So I'm just going to refer to them as just the Parks. But their daughter and their son are pretty much like ridiculous characters. It's pretty funny. But pretty much the son gets the job and finds out that, like, you know, they could be making a lot of money with this family because they're all pretty like dumb-witted, I guess you'd say. Like, he pretty much takes them all for a fool. One thing leads to another. They pretty much get their family in. He pretty much gets his family to replace their workers at the house. You got to watch it. If you haven't seen it, just watch it. It's awesome. The way everything goes down is just crazy. How he gets all of his family in to work for this family and for them to make bank off of it, and then pretty much like not really do anything with the money. Like, they pretty much succeed only to immediately fail, right? So they end up finding they end up finding out that there's more to this house that even the family knows, and the family that lives there doesn't even know the extent of the shit that's going on in this house as a whole. And there ends up being a basement in this house that this family is living in, essentially, this wife and her husband. And pretty much it's like, I mean, it's a weird movie. You just need to watch it. But everything that goes on once they find out about that, you know, the family, the wife and her husband living underneath in the basement, it's just like a bunch of holy shit moments, you know, and just the ending of the film is just fantastic. And it's just one of those movies where you come away from it like, man, you know, like, ooh, the emotion is flowing, and just, you know, your blood's pumping, you're at the edge of your seat. It was just awesome. You know, it was fantastic. And I feel like when that movie came out, there hasn't really been a drama that has been like that, you know, on a movie level that I could think of, really. I mean, off the top of my head, I mean, most of the movies that I've seen have been so forgettable, and even the horror movies and thrillers aren't that great. Like, they're just, you know, The Invisible Man was pretty good. I mean, I guess this was kind of like The Invisible Man, you know, because The Invisible Man, it was like, oh, plot twist, but it wasn't a plot twist like it. But this was a plot twist where it was like, oh, and then it dove into that aspect of that twist in the film. That was where the movie really drove home, and then it kind of revolved around like the whole thought of being wealthy and the division of being wealthy and poor. And it's just, you know, it was great. It couldn't have been done as a foreign film. I know they're trying to reboot and I'm doing American Train to Busan. It's just not gonna work, you know. It's not. There's no way, because it was already done. Like, why would you do an American reboot of something that was just fresh. Like, I mean, I guess it's a couple years old, but people were barely discovering it. But that doesn't mean you just should redo it for like American. Like, just watch the dubbed version if that's the case. Like, there's no reason to like watch it with an all rebooted American cast and change aspects about it or do things differently when it's not really necessary, you know? I mean, I don't know. That just seems like something I would say, and I would say, like, why would you do it? But, you know, again, I don't work for Hollywood. I can't play any rules, and I'm not giving any rules. I'm just looking at what has been done and what people are trying to do and what people are saying is new or hip, or, you know, again, the whole reason I did this video is because there was this article or this piece written about Squid Game saying that, like, oh, you know, this movie can have like movies don't need an all-white cast to be making the billions or whatever. And it's like, for real? Are you serious? Like, okay, all right, I mean, I guess, but there have been good grossing movies. Black Panther had black people in it. I guess it did have white characters, but really, like an all-white cast? And then what? So are you saying that Asians are yellow? I don't understand what that means by saying an all-white cast. There was an Indian guy in it. The Indian guy is definitely, actually, he was Pakistani. I don't hear any Pakistani jokes. I'm pretty sure there are, but they're definitely muffled and muddled down because... Why are you bringing that up, bro? But it's like, hey, he was a pretty fucking, you know. But it's just like, man, you know, to say things like this, it's just like, bruh, who are writing these pieces? Who are the people that are like coming together, putting this together? Because it's like, I'm sitting here wondering this, and I'm probably not gonna get any answers. But it's like, you know, I'm pretty sure maybe if they rethought things, I guess this article is already out and people are already talking about it. So, you know, where was your head at when you wrote that article? But again, I'm just ranting about this because I just wanted to, you know, if you've seen Squid Games and you haven't seen Parasite, watch Parasite. If you've seen Parasite and you haven't seen Squid Games, just watch Squid Games. If you haven't seen either, watch both. But, like, you know, you need to watch Parasite, bottom line. But this has been the Korean Lawrence Experience. Thank you so much for listening if you've made it this far. And, you know, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Yeah.